Okay, here's the deal. As you know, I have challenged every atheist in the world, seriously, to provide proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. Here's the latest. The Atheist Experience Show has said, oh yeah, well, we already answered that question. We provided proof and evidence that atheism is accurate and correct. That's what some atheists are emailing me, and I go, well, where's the video? I want to see a video saying of Matt there with his little rosy cheeks and his belly that shakes like a bowl full of jelly when he laughs. I want Matt to say, here's the proof and evidence, or anybody on video on the Atheist Experience Show, or the League of Reason, otherwise known as the League of Treason, here's the proof and evidence we have that atheism is accurate and correct. Here's the data.
My rejection of theistic claims is based on skepticism, logic, reasoning, the evaluation of evidence, and the theistic claims have not provided evidence sufficient to justify accepting them. Oh, that's it.
I'll go a step further. What you have provided has been entirely falsified. Every claim that religions have made, where there could be tested at all, they have been disproved. Where you claim that, let's say, religion is supposed to make you more moral, then if that is the case, then why is it that evangelicals have the higher divorce rate than non-religious people? Why do they have higher teen pregnancies? Why do they have more abortions? Why do they have higher rates of child abuse? Why is it that statistics show that sexual offenders more often than not tend to be religious, and that the more religious they are, the more heinous their crimes are? I mean, that's just one example. There is a negative correlation to all the claims that I have ever seen regarding religion. So it's not just that you didn't provide a reason to believe you, it's that you presented me with a whole bunch of reasons not to.
If you cannot prove that atheism is accurate and correct, and you have no evidence or data, science backing it up, listen, atheists, my atheist friends, then your belief and your worldview is based on faith. The madness of atheism, however, is that it is faith based on nothing. That is irrational.
You declare that your belief is based on faith and that we must have faith to believe as you do. No, I don't have faith. I won't have faith. I consider it inherently dishonest. Do you have something more substantive? Do you have a reason why I should believe you?
I can show proof and evidence that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. I can do it. Listen to the proof right here below my radio show.
You didn't present me. What makes you believe that?
You know what?
You have an assumed conclusion, but you never explained why you assume your conclusion.
You could not possibly produce sufficient evidence to justify believing it, and therefore, what skepticism has to say about untestable claims is they are not believable.
The belief in a God requires faith. Faith is an assertion of absolute conviction that is assumed independent of evidence, and which must be defended against all evidence to the contrary.
You have something that you think is a miracle. You need to demonstrate it so that we can investigate it. Now, I'm of the opinion, the default position, that even if this phenomenon that you're going to identify, if it actually does occur, it's not in fact a miracle, even if it's something that we perhaps can't understand or necessarily explain. But the first step is to actually demonstrate that there's a there. And for some reason, they can't get past that first block.
I get accused all the time of arbitrarily dismissing, a possibility.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that miracles are impossible by definition, and that God technically is not physically possible because the only way that we can indicate him is by something that defies all natural laws.
Right.
Technically, it's not a possibility, but I open my parameters even to that. Now, they tell me that I'm dismissing a possibility. You're suggesting that we believe in something that was never indicated. Until it is indicated, I can't believe it. I mean, you can make up any number of things that might come to your imagination, but when you posit them as true, it is incumbent upon you to produce a reason why we should believe that that is true.
And by you, he's speaking, broadly. The terminology thing that I have a problem with is something that he just touched on, and I think one of the best explanations I ever heard came from Dennis, and it's when you phrase it that way, like what made you accept atheism, or as some dishonest people have tried to argue, show me the proof for atheism. It's not. That portrays this as if atheism is some ideology that's selling something. As atheists, it's not that we're selling something else other than religion. It's that we're not buying what religion is selling. And just because I'm not buying this doesn't mean I'm selling something else. It simply means I'm not buying that.
It's funny. You're saying exactly the same thing you said the last time I were here. You mean the questions haven't gotten any better?
Atheist Experience Show and League of Reason, you guys are the mental midgets of society. You really are. And I'd like to tell a personal message here to the Atheist Experience Show and the League of Reason. There's nothing reasonable about the League of Reason. You got Stutterfoot on there who can't even speak without being scared to death as he stands in front of Ray Comfort with his That's not reasonable. You got DPR Jones on there who I sat at my radio show with Nephilim 3 waiting for him to show up. He chickened out. He evolved into a chicken. Who else is on there?
Aaron, over to you.
All right. Well, in it, my answer to Shuck Up God's question was partially delivered on the Atheist Experience a couple of weeks ago. But one of the things that I did not say is when he's asking for proof and evidence, proof and evidence is a bit redundant because, proof is legally defined as an overwhelming preponderance of evidence. So we're only talking about evidence, and a lot of evidence would constitute proof, and a little bit of evidence is just evidence. Okay, so with that definition down, we start with an old-fashioned set of scales. Now, on the side for the religious beliefs, we will lump on faith healing and talismans and crystal healing and pyramid power and whatever else you want to put on there. And then we'll, on the other side, on the science side, we will put on all of the advantages that science has actually produced, the practical applications that material methodological naturalism has actually produced. Now, let's go back on to the religious side, and for amusement, we'll call that the right side for the moment. And let's realize that all the evidence for religion is unverifiable. Therefore, it doesn't count as evidence at all. So now we've cleared all that evidence off. And look, we only have evidence on one side. But it gets worse than that. Because on the, let's call it the left side, being the science side, we will then add all of the negative core that go against religion, which is primarily the topic of this discussion, where people allow their children to die because they go without medical care, where people throw away their pills when they believe they've been cured of cancer, and then they end up being carted off to the morgue the next day. So we have a complete negative correlation. We have no evidence whatsoever in favor of the religious perspective. We have, in fact, the reality that there has never been a single occurrence in the history of science when supernatural excuses have ever been verifiably accurate. Every claim that religion makes that can be tested has already been proven wrong. And then we have all the advantages of science. So we have on our scale, we have on the religious side, zip. And on the other side, we have all the advantages of science and then all of the negative correlations allied against religion. That is an overwhelming preponderance of evidence, and that is defined legally as proof.
There are times, Aaron, where I wish you got off and actually said what you really thought, but there we go.